Good evening, everybody. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Thank you for joining us once again for this quarantine edition live interview. I'm so excited that you guys are with us on this evening. Please like and share this broadcast. I know it's going to be beneficial and helpful to those who are listening and viewing. So we ask that you would please like and share. And I'm so excited to be back. We were on a little hiatus for about 2 weeks, but I'm glad that we are back. And so, and I'm thankful that you're joining us today. So without further ado, and I see that our guest is ready, I'm so excited that she's here with us on this evening. Someone I have known for a very long time, probably since my late teens and going into adulthood. So we're so grateful that she is with us, and she is an international keynote speaker and expert group facilitator, award-winning educator, author, nonprofit founder. She has so many accolades and accolades that's due to her, and so I'll let her speak about them. But without further ado, I want to bring into this room here tonight, and I speak of none other than Dr. Trenace Richardson.
Hey,
and she's here.
Hey.
Hello. We know her as Nikki. So
I was like, oh, she being real so formal. Okay.
Well, we gotta do that, and just so it is so good to see you. And how are you doing since we've last seen each other?
Yeah, it's been a minute. I've been doing really well. Pre-COVID, doing a whole lot of traveling and a lot of speaking and a lot of singing. And, then things slowed down for all of us. And I think we're all adjusting to our new normal, and so it's picking back up again. A lot of speaking, and we get creative and do it through these venues. So I'm here, so glad to be here with you.
Yes, bless God. And so the last time I believe you were actually together was when I launched my ministry, and you were there to help me celebrate. And and I've actually been trying to keep up with you, because I know earlier this year, I believe you were in New York. Back in March, I believe it was Abyssinian Baptist, and I tried to make it there, and something happened, and then and I know you were near me, but my schedule and things would not permit me. Besides, I'm so grateful that you're able to be here tonight. So listen,
can I just say this first? I first want to say thank you for allowing me to be here, and it has been a blessing to watch your ministry, first of all, be birthed, because I was there to kind of help with the pushing, and it was just a blessing to see it come alive, and now to see it flourishing. I'm just so proud of you, and I want to thank you for always being supportive of me, because you've named a couple of times where you couldn't be with me, but there have been tons of times when you were there, even when I've brought real women to your area. You and your sister have come, so I just wanted to say thank you.
Bless you, bless you, bless you. So we like to start off with some icebreakers, just so guests can kind of get to know who you are.
Okay.
So we're going to start off with, are you an early bird or a night owl?
I'm a recovering night owl. Like I prefer to stay up late at night to get work done. Because the house is quiet. I'm done doing all of the to-dos I've got to do for everybody else, and I can just focus on whatever is important to me. But what that does is it cuts into my morning devotions and my morning time and exercise and all those things, and I end up sleeping later. So I've literally gotten, Corey, accountability for that, where I go to bed earlier, and a couple of my real women girlfriends call me if I don't wake up by a certain time. So yeah, recovering night owl.
Okay. I'm kind of in the middle. It all depends on what's going on. So all depends. What is your most used emoji right now?
Ooh, okay. So I started using the ones where you got to customize it for yourself.
Oh.
So, so I've started using those, and there's like a high or a really big smile. But more often than not, for the regular ones, I love to laugh.
Okay.
And so I got the one that laughs with the tears.
Okay.
I'm laughing so much the tears are coming. That's the one I like.
Okay, so do you prefer M&Ms or popcorn?
Ooh. Okay, so I prefer, truth be told, we telling the truth, right?
Sure.
I prefer M&Ms, but popcorn is better for you as long as it doesn't have a lot of butter on it. But I prefer M&Ms. I'm a chocolate girl.
Yes, I love M&Ms too.
Mm-hmm.
Can you live without your smartphone for 24 hours?
My son and I have had this discussion because I've told him that I am taking his technology away from him. He's gonna have a technology fast. So his thing was, well, mommy, if I'm gonna have a technology fast, you gotta have a technology fast.
Right.
I think that has delayed his fast a little bit. So I know I could. I just don't want to. Mm-hmm. And so that probably means I need to. That's probably what that means.
Okay. And so on our last question, if you had to eat one meal every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, one meal. Oh, that's a good one, Corey. If I had to eat one meal every day, it would, and I didn't have to worry about my weight. Is this I gotta worry about my weight?
It's whatever.
Okay, I got it. Salmon. I love salmon. Salmon, mm-hmm. Sweet potato, baked sweet potato.
Okay.
And asparagus. That's the truth. That's the truth.
So you will be able to eat that every day for the rest of the year? I
will be able to eat that every day. Yes.
Okay. People have like something like pizza, macaroni.
Right. So no, honestly, I couldn't do that every day because I would get tired of that every day. I really would. But salmon, oh yeah, that's good. And I've been, I've on and off been vegan or vegetarian. I've just gone through those phases to see how they suit my body. And I don't think I'm giving up salmon. So I'm gonna be a salmonitarian or something.
Right. And I'm embarking on the vegan vegetarian. I haven't had any meat in about 7 months.
Go ahead. I did see that. Go ahead. How's it making your body feel?
I feel better, but I'm trying to. I don't miss the meat. I don't miss it.
Okay.
But, so we're just going to continue right on.
Let's not talk about meat too much then. Let's move on. So you won't get hungry.
So listen, our former First Lady, Michelle Obama, has an awesome documentary out, Becoming, on Netflix. And I've seen it a couple of times. And what she says in that documentary, that your story is important. It's your story that's important. And she goes further to say that we get caught up in statistics over our story.
Wow.
So with you have a lot of accolades, degrees, honors to your name. But at the end of the day, people want to know, what's your story. They're not concerned about if you have an MDiv, doctor, all of that. At the end of the day, what is your story? Who is Dr. Trenace Nikki Richardson? Who is that person?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I am from Chesapeake, Virginia. I am a Pentecostal Church of God in Christ girl. I grew up real country, right there, right across the street from my grandmother's house, on cobble brick kind of stone roads, and running around barefoot, just really loving outdoors, and probably a bit of a tom girl. And somewhere around those ages, I was molested by family members. And then as I got older, some adults in my life. And I think that kind of messed me up a little bit, and set me on a path of looking for love in all the wrong places, and just being over sexualized early. And so on one hand, I was this real good church girl, just everything on the outside was, I was the perfect Kojic church girl. And on the other side, I had been exposed to so much that I was kind of living this other kind of life, you know, just trying to be who my friends wanted me to be, trying to be whoever the dude was in the moment wanted me to be. And it probably wasn't until after undergrad, honestly, that I stopped just, you know, that I stopped and decided, I don't want to live like this. And I want, because I was a minister, I would, you know, all those things. I was in church, I was a minister, and just kind of doing what I wanted to do, and then coming back to the altar like, Lord, forgive me, Lord Jesus, forgive me. And just being sick and tired of that routine, of what that looked like for me. That cycle. Yeah. Jonathan Nelson, I think, talks about cycles, just that whole cycle. And so I got tired of that. And somewhere I'll fast forward, I got married at 35. I got my doctorate. I got all those things. But in the midst of that, I still hadn't healed on the inside from a lot of that stuff. So still in ministry, still doing a lot of things. But it wasn't until I had literally a nervous breakdown. I just really, I fell into a deep depression. I caught my husband looking up how to help a depressed spouse. And as a result of that, that experience, just a whole lot. There's a whole lot. I don't want to take up all the time with this one question, but out of all of that was birth Real Women, because I needed a safe space to be, so that it didn't matter what my title was. Like you said, it didn't matter what my position was. And so that's kind of how that was birthed for me. And so today I'm a mama, you know, a mama to two. I've been happily, and thank God we've made it to 21 years.
Amen.
I got married when I was 2, so that's why, you know. But yeah, 21 years, 2 decades. I can't believe we've been married for 21 years. And so grateful for that. Wonderful family support. I'm doing, the last thing I'll say is I am blessed to be doing things that I love to do.
Amen.
And being who I love to be.
Amen. That's awesome. Wonderful. Wow. So that is definitely encouraging, inspiring story for all who are listening. And so as we move forward, you know, our world has just been rocked by this pandemic, and we've been trying to cope and hope and pray and praise through this pandemic. But you know, we started out with one pandemic, but as we got further on in the year, we were introduced to the second pandemic, which is that of racism. And so as we talk about that, when you saw the injustice with George Floyd and Rashard Brooks, and just not even them, but prior to those two, I believe Breonna Taylor, and just all the ones in the past, what were your initial reactions? Because I know you being a wife, you being a mother of a son, and you probably have so many friends and family who are young men, just all alike. But what were your reactions to that?
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's sad to say that some of the initial happenings, we've gotten so desensitized that I wasn't surprised. I'm like, here we go again. Here we go again. And it's just the most disheartening. And honestly, to be honest with you, my biggest emotional reaction is anger, that in 2020, that we are still dealing with so much discrimination and injustice. And I have to couple that with where I started. It's still not surprising to me, because when you think over our history, you know, we didn't choose to come here, you know, and it wasn't very long ago. And so with all that we've had to deal with throughout every era that we have existed in this country, in every generation, we're here now, and I believe that there's this turning, there's this evolving that's happening. You know what? A better wording for it is the pendulum is swinging, right? I believe that every few years, every generation, the pendulum swings. And I believe it's swinging in another direction where we're just not going to take it anymore. And so I'm allowing my anger to turn into righteous indignation. So that, I know my lane of brilliance. I know what I can contribute best to what's happening in the world right now. And for me, it is dialogue. For some people, it is actively being out at every march. And for some people, it's preaching every Sunday, life and empowerment from the pulpit. For me, it is getting in rooms and circles. I heard T.D. Jakes say this recently, that he chooses to be in rooms where decisions are made. And that's my bent. That's my lane, to be in rooms where decisions are made. I've had the blessing to be in town halls with leaders in my community, leaders in the state, even federal leaders, so that we could have conversations about what policies need to change, and more than policies, what mindsets need to change, and what trainings and what can we implement, what procedures can we implement to help people change mindset. So that's kind of where my head has been.
Wow. Okay. And so, yeah, and I think everybody had the same reaction when they saw the injustice, like, is it still going on in 2020, or, we're going through this again, those type of reactions. But I think George Floyd, just to see it in almost real time, his murder, that just captivated not just only the African American community, but people of all ethnic backgrounds.
And you know what I think it was too, Corey? I think it was the length of time,
right?
The lack of concern for the perpetrator, just his actions, his lack of concern about what he was doing, and then just the negligence and the standby attitude of the other officers. And so with all of that coupled, all of it has been a disgrace. All of it has, every moment of it has been an unspeakable tragedy and injustice. I just think, at some point we get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
And it's a boiling over, like you said, of everyone's sentiments at this point.
And so Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he has a book called Chaos or Community, Where Do We Go From Here? And basically what he posits in that book, what he wants the readers to take away, is that there's a sense of hope for us at the end of things. He sees a glimmer of hope. And even when he, before he was assassinated, he offered a word of hope to the people that, it's going to get better. So in agreement with him, what kind of hope as a leader would you be able to offer during this time of the social injustice and racial injustice and all of that? What kind of hope would you be able to offer? Because hope, I believe, is the possibility that things can change. And, we have a leader now at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue who is not offering that to us, that things are going to change. But as a leader, we're to speak hope, that, that we believe that things are going to get better for us. So if you had to offer a word of hope in the midst of all of this, what would that be?
Yeah, thank you for that. So I've been wrestling, and I'll have to use that word until I think of a better one. But I've been wrestling with this because some of my thoughts, and I'm just going to be honest with you, have been more realist or maybe even more pessimistic. In that, and I'm going to bring it back to your question about hope, but I can imagine even in his more quiet moments, Dr. King was like, these folks are driving me crazy, So I have to be honest about the fact that when you see people's sentiments, especially from a platform as high as 1600, ignite and incite the kind of riotous behavior and insidious attitudes that come from some people, you almost think, that the powder keg has been lit, and it's going to have to get worse before it gets better.
Right.
And so that's a part of me, and I don't necessarily believe that's not true. I do believe it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Well, and he actually said in one of his another quote, which people kind of took out of context, but he said, rioting or a riot is the language of the unheard.
Mm-hmm.
So when we saw that's what's going on. But I like what another person said, don't become a criminal in your process trying to create change.
Let me clarify too. So when I mentioned riotous in that sense, I was speaking honestly of the people who have they are not in the position right now where they are being discriminated against. But they are angry to the point of being voicing their prejudice and racist beliefs and views, because there's been as much riotous behavior on that side that we would describe as buildings. And I think Ava DuVernay or someone said it, you can be upset about buildings burning. But Target, Walmart, all of those places, CVS, all those places, they have insurance and they're going to be okay. You need to show me just as much anger about why that ended up happening versus what happened. And so I don't like semantics and staying in on the work, because the truth of the matter is there is discrimination and there's injustice. And so even if it gets worse before it gets better, the hope is that, one, and I'm speaking personally for myself and what I would say to anyone else, is that I'm still here. And so I am still here when so many others have sacrificed their lives before me, have gotten sick from the other pandemic that's happening right now, and not made it to today. The fact that I am still here means that there is reason, there is purpose, and there is something left for me personally to do. And so for every last one of us who wakes up the next day, who is breathing, inhaling and exhaling right now, we have purpose. We have reason to be. And so for me, that is hope. And then the energy that is coming together means that we're not by ourselves. And so they're not too far away from me. I can find a sister who is just as restless and upset about things as I am, or I can find, a community or a church community or another community group and I can link arms with some people so that we can voice our opinion. And so for me, the hope is, I'm still here. There's a reason why I'm still here. And then because I'm still here, there is something for me to do to affect change.
Right. And I think all of us can agree with that. We're still here. Thanks be to God. And it's no goodness by his grace and his mercy. But wow, those are such, I echo your sentiments.
Yeah.
And so and then of course, the first pandemic, which we see is that of COVID-19, which is just, nobody foresaw this. Nobody could have ever imagined that this would be the time and the space that we're living in right now. So during this time, I want to ask, have you personally been affected by COVID-19?
So when you say personally, I think of me and my immediate family and my immediate circle. And so that the first answer I have is no. But then right outside of my immediate circle, I have sisters within Real Women in other places who have either been personally afflicted and affected, or their family members have. I get at least one call a week about someone that I know within my circle of connection and influence who either they have been affected or someone they know or even if, something might pop up on my feed. It's someone that I know. And so to answer your question, yes, I have been affected, even if it hasn't personally affected my health or my family's health. It has been disheartening. It has been heartbreaking. I've been, in strong prayer with, and been, visiting through windows and waving and bringing food to, and that kind of thing to a few sister girlfriends, and prayers and sending cards, that kind of thing. So it's been something that's heavily affected me.
Right. And I think, and, even though, and I heard the saying, and it just kind of resonated, because I believe it's so, not so much profound, but it just has a lot of truth to it, that when one is infected, we are all affected. And so I might not be infected, thank God, but when I see our brothers and sisters who this virus has just either taken out or, just have brought down, we're affected by that.
Yeah.
So, and I saw even within the Church of God in Christ alone, several bishops, just people just have succumbed to COVID-19. And so it definitely was, as you said, disheartening, and to see all of this happen and transpire the way that it did.
Can I do my own personal PSA real quick with that? This, because you just mentioned a couple of things that made me think about it, and I'm so serious. As we are seeing, right now, today, whenever you're watching this, the numbers are going back up in so many places. My family and I, we had these ideas where, because we can't go out of the country right now, we plan on getting our passport stamped this year. And because we can't do as much of that, we were going to go visit state parks and that kind of stuff in as many states as we've never been to. Well, there are some states that it's just not good to go to right now. And so I just want to acknowledge that no matter how much you love God, put your mask on. No matter how much you love Jesus, no matter how much the blood covers you, could you please stay 6 feet away from people, please?
Right.
Not in big crowds, because I believe, that's just putting God to a test that you should not do. And so I wanted to throw that out there, because even the faithful have been affected. And it's because, for all different reasons, some folks have been affected and they've done all that they knew to do, right? But many folks have been affected because they said it wouldn't happen to me, and and gone about their daily life the way that they were before. So be careful.
And so as we just close out this COVID-19, and I think you kind of emphasized that people, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So, and I think you kind of touched on it, but what are some things personally that you have done to show that you care during this time of a pandemic with COVID-19?
Yeah. So there's one thing. I'm going to start with something that I started and I need to do more of, because I think it's a wonderful idea. And I even probably have some right here with me. I do, because my idea is to send more handwritten thank you notes, or I'm thinking of you notes, to people where they live, because I think handwritten notes are a lost art. We're quicker to send an email or a text. And so the handwritten notes, I've sent a couple of cards, a few cards, a handful, but not as many as I plan to and need to. So that's something that I want to do more of. But again, I've visited some folks who were quarantined and sent some food and some goodies, and sat and talked with folks through glass and 6 feet away and that kind of thing, just to be comfort and company for them. And trying to give some of the things that we have here, whether it's food or clothing and those types of things in times of need. So just doing what I can. while at the same time, still working. And, because COVID has us I homeschooled my son for about 4 years before I put him back in school so that I could become the director of a leadership institute at College of Southern Maryland in January. So the end of January, he went back to public school, and in March, he went back home again. So I'm homeschooling, and I'm working and all those things, and it's a lot. So
would you say that you've been probably working harder now than you were before?
Girl, please. I think everybody would say that, even the people that aren't, who are looking for jobs are working hard, looking for jobs. But yes, I've put on a couple of extra hats, and then people who are in my circles who are stressed out and emotionally drained because of all that's happening, that's kind of volunteer help or team help. Those types of things have been stripped away. They've been lessened because of all that's happening. And so I'm the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. I'm so grateful for those shout out to Real Women, shout out to Leading with Soul, shout out to our membership communities, because there are so many who still throughout all of this are still attending our sister circles and helping and facilitating and supporting. But it's been a hard time. So all of us have had to put on more hats than we would normally put on. So yes, more work, not less.
Okay. And so as we move forward, you have a wonderful ministry, Real Women. And so can you just talk about that and let us know the inception of that, how that got started, how was that birthed, and what would you like to see become of it, even as it is continuing to grow? And I think, like I said earlier, that I was able to come, you brought it here to New Jersey, and I was able to come to that session that you had, and I was blessed. I don't think you've been back towards the New Jersey area in a while, because I'll be looking, I'll be trying to stay up to see when I can actually make it to come, but I'm like, I'm nowhere near Virginia.
Right, so that's close. That's right. Yeah, I don't know how close.
Right, Hillside. That's about an hour away. That's about an hour.
I've been there since then, and then to New York. So thank you for asking. Real Women, honestly, and I think this happens for most of us. It is my life's work. And because it is my life's work, it was built, the purpose of Real Women was built out of my pain. And so I am, I'm called to sing, I'm called to minister and all those things, but I am a woman first. And as a woman, I had not realized how much I'd sacrificed in order to be the things that do the things that I've done in my life. For example, I was the golden child growing up. Anybody that was a member of our church, New Hope Church of God in Christ, would tell you, I had every opportunity to shine at my church, leading the choir and singing in the choir, leading songs. And if I did something at school that was really good, it was highlighted at church, all those things. I was queens of campuses, and I won pageants, and I did a whole lot of stuff that was very impressive to people. And I knew what the expectations were of me, and so I did my very best to live up to them. But the very core of who I was as a girl, as a young lady, and a woman was not being addressed. I didn't really formally go to counseling until I got to college, and so there were certain things about my life that I did not understand and process in a healthy way. So I was living out, and I would love to make sure y'all like love. Tell me I'm not by myself telling my story, all my mess. But living out my life with this duality of what people expect of me, and it goes all the way to my leadership. So as a woman leader in ministry, full-time ministry, teaching, preaching, singing, having people look up to me, ask me, doing women's ministries and women Bible studies, folks coming to me with their problems. They don't think you have any problems. And if you do, you can't have real serious ones. Like you can't have the real gutter ones, because that don't work for people when you're a ministry leader. And so all of that was an issue for me. And I did not reconcile that until I mentioned to you, I really just had an emotional breakdown, because I was trying. There was a point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I want to do. God won't please with that. And I was like, I'm going to do what everybody wants me to do. That wasn't it either. And so I just broke down. And with the patience and love of my husband, I just rebuilt and said, you know what? I'm stopping full-time ministry. I'm going to take a break from higher education for a minute. What am I supposed to be doing right now? God, what would you have of me? And I felt deep. I can't say I heard it, but I felt deep in my spirit that I needed to start what I needed. I needed a safe space where women could just process what they were dealing with and going through without being judged, without being criticized, without being without their titles and positions being put up in front of them as an expectation. And so I couldn't find, there are wonderful places, women's groups, small groups, all that kind of stuff. I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. And so I started it in Real Women. And so the last thing I'll say is that the mission of our organization is that every woman, no matter where she lives in the world, would have access to a safe space and a circle of sisters. And we know how hard it is for some women to connect with other women, right? And so we make that space easy in Real Women. We cultivate an environment that allows it to be conducive for you to connect in a meaningful way with other women. And because we haven't been able to do it in physical in-person circles lately, we have been able to push our agenda to reach women wherever they are. We've had women sign on from Africa, from Japan, from every state almost in the US. And so we are literally reaching women all over the world with safe spaces.
And so how many women do you say is a part of Real Women right now?
So we have two sectors of Real Women. There's the open virtual community, and there are probably about, and I'm just going by emails, right? Because there are some people who now they're able to log in without giving us their email. Because of COVID, we put our Zoom information out there and people sign, just register and come in. And we don't necessarily capture their email just in this season. Something we're working through. But just from the emails that we have, it's about 3,000 women that are connected with us in our virtual community. And that's from all over the country and across the globe in different areas. And then we have an all access membership, where if you become connected with us on a monthly or an annual basis, you invest in your own personal development, you stay connected with us on a larger scale. And I wish I could turn my computer around, because I'm in my office right now looking at a door full of names. There are over 100 women who on a regular basis, we connect either in a closed Facebook group or in closed virtual sister circles. And then they have access to things that other women don't, who are connected to us. So, and that's just been since the end of 2018. So in the last couple of years, we've gotten over 100 members. So that's a blessing.
Okay. So, and what is your, I guess, the ultimate goal that you would like to see with Real Women? Like, where would you like to see it go?
Yeah. So we laugh about this on the team often, because we host annual intensives every year. And so we're able to get an approximately 100 women together in a space. And whenever we're in those rooms, we know, more women will be and need to be exposed to what we do. And I won't say but, and the bigger we grow, the harder it is for these one-on-one connections, right? For these really in-depth conversations to happen. So that's the friction that we're always dealing with. How do we keep the sister circle small? I'm going to be honest with you. I now have massive vision, especially because of the virtual communities where I now facilitate. I train facilitators to facilitate their own sister circles. Mm-hmm. And so my vision for Real Women is that hundreds of women and then thousands of women would be trained by me to host sister circles in their areas in the ways that we do it, because we have core values. We have a very specific way that we host you've been there, a very specific way that we host our sister circles, so that literally a Christian could sit next to a Muslim woman and they both find meaningful connection without clashing, without disagreeing, that they have more in common than they have different. And you have to be trained to do that, because most of us, I can put my preacher hat on and preach everybody happy, but I would rather have us connect where we are as women, because you can get that anywhere. So that's the vision, to train facilitators. I want to facilitate facilitators trainings across the country, even virtually, so that women can host them on their own. That's my vision.
Wow. So, Real Woman, if you're just joining us, we're talking to Dr. Trenace Nikki Richardson, and she has just finished letting us know about her women's ministry, Real Woman, which is such an awesome and inspiring endeavor. And so we thank you for joining us. And so I want to move on to women in leadership, because you and I both know, and Real Woman kind of segues, you and I both know that life for us ain't been enough. You and I both know, as women in ministry, it has just not been easy for us. Mm-hmm. And so I want to ask you, first, being a woman in ministry, and and if you're like me, I started when I was 15, and I'm sure you started when you were young as well. Mm-hmm. But did you face, what challenges I'm not going to ask if you, because I want to believe it. But can you share some of the challenges that you might have endured and faced due to you being a woman?
Yeah, I can. Can I start with how wonderful it's been? Can I do that first?
Okay.
I promise to do both, but I've just been half full these days, like glass half full, and I'm telling you, with all the challenges I will name, and I will name them. I love the idea of representing the nurturing, mothering, feminine nature of God. Like, I just love being a representation of because God is genderless, and so or genderful, whichever way you want to look at it. But the idea is that I am just as much God-filled as any man who is God-filled, and God manifests himself differently in all of us. And so I am just in awe of women preachers and women ministers, and how, we're all different flavors, but we all come with some feminine swag about us. And I love that. I love that about us. I would also say I love the fact that we're underestimated, that folks maybe men or even women may not give us the benefit of the doubt or the credence that we are due. And so it gives us, I love being the underdog. I've always loved it. I'm a Delta, and everyone in my family are AKAs. And I did Delta because nobody else was, like, and I love Delta, but I especially did it because I love just doing the other thing. Right. And so being the underdog or being the underestimated excites me. It allows me, gives me the fuel I need to really just shine and do better. So for me, those are two big highlights. And I'll say, those have kept me pushing despite the challenges I'm about to talk about. Because I'll start with the fact of being a woman and having woman parts, having physical woman parts. Corey invited the Real Women founder, so forgive me if it's a little too much for y'all. But having women parts is in and of itself a challenge, and I wouldn't take it back. I'm all woman. I want to stay all woman, but you are either hated on by other women, right? Because there's a whole lot of that. Cattiness and that kind of stuff, and just fakery. I'm allergic. I'm allergic to fakery. I can't stand it. I have stepped out of lights and opportunities and spotlights just because I'm allergic to that. I'm learning how to deal with it better. But that's from the women's side of things. From the men's side of things, the more spiritual, the more anointed, the more God uses you, the more you look like a piece of meat on a slab. So that has, and I'm so sick. That has been a challenge. So we can talk more about that if you want. The other challenges have been just the doctrine and theology around, whether we should be allowed to preach, whether we should be allowed to, because in Church of God in Christ for a long time we called it speaking.
That's right.
It wasn't preaching; it was
speaker. That's right.
You right there tight with church. So and there was the preacher's podium, and then there was the speaker's podium down on the floor. And so we would speak from the speaker's podium. No, we couldn't get on the big people on the big man preacher pulpit. And so
they even sometimes, and they still do it today. They still do it, but they would address you as the speaker. And then sometimes I had another one of my sisters on here that said that she would go somewhere and they would put the pastor up before her because he was afraid that she was going to outdo. So he would preach first, and then she would come behind and do stuff like that.
See, so that's a good point, because at some point you are underestimated, and then you show up. And God shows up and shows out. And then it's like, oh, we got to dim her light because she's a little bit, she's too much. She's too brilliant for this. Anyway, so I told you I need to get the good stuff over with first. And so there was, I think when I first came to seminary, I decided to go to seminary because I honestly was raised with that mindset that women are evangelists and missionaries. They are not preachers, pastors, reverends, elders, deacons. They don't do that. They are evangelists and missionaries. And so I came, growing up with that mindset, and I decided I wanted to go to seminary because I was a psalmist and I wanted to better understand the word of God as I ministered in psalm. And I'd done some youth ministry stuff. I've been preaching, doing youth ministry, but I didn't have the mindset. I was the young person preaching to the young people. And so when I got to seminary at Howard University and I saw those women preachers preaching, and I went to an AME church and saw those women preaching, I was like, oh my God, I'm a communicator. This is what God has called me to do. And so to have that push and pull from where I'm from, what I've always loved and been exposed to, and then to see it, another world where women are shining brilliantly, there's always been a friction for me there and a challenge. Yeah.
Wow. And so I think that's kind of similar too, but I would say and you said it, sometimes it's amongst ourselves, the women, but I personally, like, if you can preach or teach, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
My sister, Pastor Jennifer Carner, from House of Hope Atlanta, says it best, that I don't have to dim your light to let mine shine, that we can shine together.
Absolutely.
And I don't know why people don't understand that. I think we're better together, but and as far as the men, like it's so many the same conversation that these men, the men don't have to know the books of the Bible. They don't have to know nothing. But us women, we have to come strong and prove ourselves because of that. But I always say that the women are running circles around the men. That's why they feel a little insecure. But I mean, I think this is a new era and a new time where women are leading in the forefront now. You know, you have women pastors, you have, which we probably wouldn't see back in the day so prevalent like it is now. But I think it's just us women, we can do it as well. It's just, and sometimes better than the men.
Well, let me say this. I am, and I'll put myself out there as, even if it's by myself, we'll see what the comments say. But I am very much, and I'm gonna say, I'm putting a serious face on, because I really mean this from my heart. I'm very much against any level of competition in church. I'm very, it makes me itch, Corey. I have turned down some types of 7 last words. I've done them, but I've turned down some of them. I've turned down some, preaching engagements where it was 3 and 4 people on it, because they just want to see Doc, who gonna preach the best, Doc, and I'm just allergic to all of that, because this is what happens. I am very much sensitive to the fact, because I'm with them all the time. I am with unchurched folks all the time, or church people who are over churched. Of verbiage that someone gave me a long time ago. People who are either unchurched or over churched, because they are just tired of the show, tired of the performance, tired of the entertainment of it all, and just really looking for the presence of God and the unity and the love and the grace, instead of, who's gonna bust out the person loudest in the word, who's gonna preach the best, and who's gonna be dressed better, who's gonna hoop and the best. And so whether it is within women's circles, whether it's within men's circles, or whether it's women and men pitted against each other, I just really hope, my prayer, when you talk about Martin Luther King's hope, I really get back to hoping that we get to a place where we see God's giftings in each and every one of us. And the fact that there's a different gifting, and maybe yours is not preaching. Maybe you have a teaching, a real teaching anointing where you shouldn't have to try to do what somebody else is doing. And you should not be insecure about what your lane is, because nobody has your lane like you do. And so whether you're a man looking at a woman, why be intimidated by her when you've had the reins, y'all got the reins, and why not encourage each other? So I just wanted to put that in there, because it really does. I know we laugh and joke about it, but it really is sad that unchurched or overchurched people look at the church and say, that's a mess. That's a mess right there. The fact that they are competing against each other, the fact that they trying to see who gonna win, who does it the best, or trying to fight and for roles and titles and positions. It's just a shame. So,
wow. Okay. And so, and I have to ask, looking back, do you think did you expect that you were going to be where you are now?
No.
I have to say that, and a lot of people answer no, but I can't always assume that, because some people, they did aspire to be where they are. They went to school, they did, but for the most part, majority of the guests said, I never thought that this is where I was going to be. So,
and I know this is a Christian thing, but you almost made me cuss. No. I did not think I would be here. Honestly, I thought I was going to be Whitney Houston reincarnate. I thought the best of what Whitney was, and still is, because she, her best lives on. I really just wanted to be the inspirational music queen, and sing all over the world. And so I have not forsaken any of that, but it looks very different than I thought it would look. And what is added on and attached to it now, I'm grateful for now, but I feel like it was a really long detour to get to this place, where I feel like all of it could still happen for me. And I say that to encourage someone, because, I was encouraged to become a teacher. I was encouraged to get into education. And it has been a blessing for me because, you know, when all else has failed, they were right. Teachers always have a job. There's a job for teachers. It may not pay as much as you want, but if you have your licensure in education, or if you have a doctorate or whatever in education, there's a place for you somewhere. And so I'm grateful for that. But there is something to be said about having this inner fire, inner spark, inner imagination about what you want to do and be, and pursuing that at all costs. You know, like when people are telling you, you need to get this kind of job and you need to get that kind of job, and you have laser like focus and you pursue it. And so that didn't happen for me. I took a safe route, and for me, it was a long route. But I'm proud to say I'm 46 and I'm just living the better. My latter will be greater than my former. I'm just living the best years of my life now. So I'm excited about that.
Okay. And I have, before we wrap up this Women in Leadership, 3 more questions.
Sure, I'll make them quick.
Talk about, you know, mentorship. How important is mentorship in our journeys, and that we go particularly with ministry, because, you know, you talked about earlier, like sometimes people, they don't want to mentor you because they feel that you're going to be better than, you know, and all that stuff. Yeah. So talk about how important mentorship is, particularly for somebody that's younger like me and those who are younger than me, how important that is.
Yeah, it is so important. And I'm so glad you used the word mentoring. There are other words out here, you know, there are other words out here for what people do. But mentoring, to me, the difference is that you are using your life lessons as an example to pour into someone else. It is just making your life available and open to someone else on whatever degree or whatever level you're comfortable doing that. And you know, you allow the person the space to come in. But I love that versus somebody just telling you what they read and what they know from something else. And so it is critically important. It is so important. I wish I had it on a greater level growing up. I thank God for the women examples who I could look at a distance. I thank God for Reverend Florida Moorhead, Renee Cole. I can name some people, Sabrina Mangrum. There are some amazing women preachers and pastors in my young adulthood coming up that influenced me and that mentored me. And it made all the difference. And had I had it earlier, it would have made even more difference. And so I do my best to do it. I can't say that I would get graded an A on my level of mentorship, because there was a time, honestly, Corey, when people were coming to me for mentorship and I was in my 30s. I might have even been in my 20s, but I know I was in my 30s. And I was like, mental how? Mental what? Because I'm still jacked up. I am a mess. You do not want me to mentor you. And so I think there has to come this realization that if someone is coming to you, they see something in you. And there's enough life experience that you have that you can share your lessons learned with them at whatever level you're on. And so it took me a while to get to that point. And so, you know, I still struggle with it because I still, it's so funny where I'm about to work on some things and I describe myself as broken. I have broken pieces, but God is putting them together again in very beautiful ways. And so I believe people can learn something from that. And we have to be willing to open ourselves up for that. It's really important.
Okay. And so is there something, if you had to start all over again, what would you do differently?
Wow. Okay, 2 things. And I will say this, even though I know personally I can't control the fact that I was over-sexualized so early, because that's not something I could have chosen because it was imposed upon me. I was molested. But because of that, I was over sexualized early, and I made some choices earlier in my life than I would have wanted to, related to sex and guys. And I say that because my attention was diverted in my young adult years when I thought some joker, some booger was my all in all, and I can't just live without them and all this kind of stuff. And I stopped pursuing purpose and stopped paying attention to who God wanted me to be and why and all that kind of stuff, because I had gotten exposed early to, and I don't, I believe that, there's some lessons even in that, but that's one thing. And I think the other thing is I would have just full out pursued singing. I would have just full out pursued it. I had the opportunity to literally leave college before I started college. Honestly, had the opportunity to leave college to pursue music full time, and I chose not to do it because it wasn't gospel music. So I thought my mama was gonna kill me. I thought my church was gonna disown me, and it was a scholarship for school. So I thought my mama gonna kill me if I give up the scholarship, and so I would have done those two things, I think.
Okay. And so in the last I kind of asked, was there ever a time that you just felt like giving up, calling it quits, and what did you do in those instances, in those times?
Yes. And without a shadow of a doubt, I wanted to give up, and I've done a myriad of things. I've literally had a breakdown and not gotten out of bed for a couple of days. I have, on a better day, gotten up and done prayer and devotions and, made it through the day despite how I was feeling. And at some point, eventually, someone came along with an encouraging something, and maybe not even knowing that I needed it the way that they sent it, and encouraged me. And then here lately, to be very honest with you, whenever I feel that give up or don't want to go forward or something like that, I know there's some kind of shift that needs to take place. Maybe it's in my mindset, but it might even be in some of what I'm doing or not doing, because I am very determined these days to do things that bring me joy. They don't have to be easy. I can get tired from something, but not want to give up. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference between the two. And so I can be exhausted from the stuff I'm doing, but I would never want to give up because I'm in love with what I'm doing. And so that's the journey I'm on now, where I am enjoying my joy. I am loving what I'm doing. And as a result, those give up glimpses for me just cause me to adjust.
Okay. Right. And I think when you have that love for what you do, that kind of brings things back into perspective and gives you that little to run on to see what the end is going to be.
Absolutely.
I think sometimes, it's often like, just because we might look together doesn't mean that we are together.
That's right.
I think so many times, like you talked about it earlier, we look the part, because I know the church lingo, I know how to quicken, I know how to do all that stuff. But when you go back home, and you're out of that environment, the atmosphere, it's a different story. But that's what people don't see. They see us with our made up. They see us with our persona. We have a church persona, and then we have at home nobody sees.
We just need to assume. This is a safe assumption that everybody is going through something, has gone through something, or is going to go through something. Like, that's just a safe assumption that everybody knows what go through looks like at whatever level they're on financially, whatever level they're on ministry wise, whatever level they're on in business. Everybody has had, is, or will have some go through. And so it's easier for me now to talk to people like people. I appreciate your title, boo, but you won't born bishop, you won't born apostle, you won't born reverend. Right. Your name is not evangelist. That's not your name. That's not the one your mama gave you. So when you ask me what my name is not doctor. My name is Trenace. Right. And so, and my family don't even know that. They know Nikki. So, and so it's really important to take people for who they are at their core and not just place these assumptions and expectations on them, in my opinion.
Right. Mm-hmm. Wow. So you have definitely given us a lot to think about in regards to women in ministry. And, you've been at my church down through the years, over 10 years.
Absolutely.
And, over 10 years at retreats, workshops. And I think when you came for it had been a while since you actually been when you came for the ministry launch. So it was just so great to reconnect. And then, of course, we're in the social media era, so we're connected that way. And I just want you to know that if there's anything that I can do to help Real Women Ministries, like I said, I'm going to try to in this season that we're in, this virtual
right. It's a little easier.
No, I saw that you had 2 virtual sessions recently. But I had, we Zoom back to back.
Right.
Simultaneously, I had like 2 Zoom meetings going on at that same time.
Well, can I mention a couple right now? Is that okay?
Yeah. Because we just asked this, so I guess you can do it this way. What's next for? What's next for?
Let you ask
what's next for Nikki Richardson?
Okay. Well, Real Women is continuing to grow, and we're growing virtually so that no matter where you are in the world, you are able to connect with us. And so twice out of the month now, we host sister circles. We just had one this past Saturday, and the theme was healing from guilt and shame. And it was absolutely amazing. You would think, that it's hard to connect with each other through the airwaves and on a Zoom, but we have been proving that theory wrong throughout the summer. And so it was incredible. And so our next one is June 25th, and it's at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So no matter where you are, you can adjust your clock.
You mean July, right? July?
Did I say June? What did I say? June is my birthday month. So
okay, mine too.
It's always June to me. I'm sorry. July 25th is the date, July 25th, and it's at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the theme this time is women's sexual health. And so oftentimes, we're working on ourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. We're doing all of those things, but we pay no attention, because moms is the word, on our sexual health. And so we're going to talk about what that is and what that looks like to be sexually healthy. And so we're not afraid to talk about those things at Real Women. So we invite you to do so. And then for me personally, I have as you mentioned, women's leadership mentoring community called Leading with Soul, and we will be opening that back up again. We study 7 pillars. We study a framework that I developed with curriculum, videos, handouts, lessons. We meet every week for Q&A. They have challenges and things that they have to do. It's really fun and engaging. And so we're on our last 2 pillars, and that will be probably August. And then in September, we're going to open it back up for women to join. You can find out all of this information at TrenaceRichardson.com. TrenaceRichardson.com. There's information about Real Women and Leading with Soul. And then I have really exciting things. I wish I could talk about them, but if you follow me on
Facebook, let us know how we can stay connected.
Facebook, it's Trenace Nikki Richardson. Instagram and Twitter, it's I am Trenace. And of course, there's the Real Women Rock hashtags that are out there as well. You look up Real Women Rock and you'll find us. But if you stay connected with those, you'll see a lot of really exciting things happening over the next couple of months. Big stuff. So I would love for you to stay connected.
Now, have you done any virtual things as far as preaching and singing since we're in this pandemic?
Yeah, great question. So a lot of speaking, we talked about that, right? A lot of facilitating workshops and sister circles and those types of things. I haven't done as much preaching over the airwaves through virtually. And I have done some singing. I have done some singing virtually, yeah.
Okay. Well, as we get ready to wrap up, I leave everybody with this. If you can give us some parting words, some last things that you want to say to the viewers as we wrap up, some just encourage the people as we wrap up.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I think if anything, I would want to encourage everyone to be light. And I'll explain what I mean, because oftentimes you tune into something like this. I know I do. I've tuned into WOW Ministries and said, "Oh, Dorinda, oh, Jackie," and just you look at people you admire and you think, that's not me. I could never do that. I could never be that, or whatever you think about someone that you put on a pedestal. And so anyone listening, we all have our own lane of brilliance. We all have our own lane to shine. And as you mentioned, one of your previous guests said, it's so funny, my life's affirmation is I come from light, I am light, I won't dim my light. And so if you need some justification for you to just take this COVID, take this, racial injustice, take this pause in time right now, this crazy new normal that we're in, to find your footing and do something brand new and brilliant and move forward in a brand new way, in a bigger way than you ever have before. If you need justification for that, just know that your creator, your source is light, is brilliant, and shines. And as a result, you are light. You come from that source. And so you are a piece of that. You are light. And it would be disrespectful to your creator for you not to shine brilliantly. And so I would encourage you to be light in the earth in whatever way. There are different types of light. There are different lumens of light. And so I would encourage you to be the light that God has created you to be.
Wow, that's awesome. So everybody that's watching, and that's scripture too. We're called to be a light.
Absolutely.
Be a light that sits on a hill that can't be hidden.
Absolutely.
So wow. So we definitely listen. Reverend Nikki, Sister Nikki, Dr. Nikki, I just want to thank you for taking this time out to be with WOW Ministries on tonight. Thank you for being with us once again on this platform virtually. And we so do appreciate you and just your ministry, your creativity, your character is just awesome ever since I've known you. And I just want to say that it is my prayer that God continue to just take you to higher heights and deeper depths. And eyes have not seen, ears have not heard the good things that God has in store for you. So we just thank you for just coming on this platform during this time. And so we're grateful for you.
Thank you so much. And I love you, sis. I'm so proud of you. I am giddy proud of you, girl, with everything that you're doing just in your personal life. You just pushing and stretching yourself.
I'm trying.
Girl, I'm so proud. And in ministry. So may you continue to prosper as well. I love you. I'm here whenever you need me.
Yes. God bless you. God bless you. And listen, as we say to the viewers, if you would want to be a blessing to WOW Ministries, $ Corey Malloy is the Cash App. And you're certainly welcome to donate that way. We've just been so blessed to have so many different people on this platform and that's what this is all about. People who uplift, encourage, and inspire. And everybody that's been on this platform has done just that. And so we just want to say thank you, Nikki, for joining us on tonight.
Absolutely. Love you.
Love you too. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
God bless you. Bye-bye. And so listen, we want to thank everybody once again for coming on this platform. We hope that the words that Dr. Nikki offered today were encouraging and uplifting to you. And we ask that you would continue to like and share this broadcast. And those who are going to be watching the replay, we also ask that you would share it as well. So we're continuing these segments and these sessions. And so join us next week. You never know who we're going to have on. So join us next week. And once again, I thank everybody for just coming on. God bless you. And until next time, We'll see you. God bless you.